today is an actress who never imagined herself in front of the camera and yet found success with her very first film. Since then, she's played everything from a drug addict to an action heroine, winning awards along the way. So how did the child who once thought she was too shy to ever perform end up as one of China's hottest cinema attractions?
Zhangjingchu was born in 1980 in Fujian province in China. She was sent to boarding school at the age of 13 to study art, a move that she's described as a liberating experience. The teenage Jingchu aspired to become a great painter, but after moving to Beijing, enrolled instead at the Central Academy of Drama to study directing. She emerged, though, as an actress, entering the international spotlight in 2005 with her debut film Peacock, which won the Silver Bear at the Berlin International Film Festival. In 2007, she starred in Rush Hour 3 with Jackie Chan. She's been named one of Asia's heroes by Time magazine.
Zhangjingchu, welcome to Michelle Hussein Meets.
Yeah, thank you. Very nice to be here.
Thank you for being with us. Jingchu, not many people have had the success that you had from your very first film. Did you dream of being an actress as a child?
I never thought about becoming an actor because my personality was more shy and introverted. And I thought becoming an actor should be somebody who's very outgoing and just enjoy to be the center of attention, but I'm just the opposite.
You've played some really tough roles in Night and Fog, for instance, where you're playing a battered wife. You've also played a drug addict. I mean, you haven't shied away from, you know, roles that are not only tough to play, but where you don't look glamorous, or, you know, you're not portrayed in the way that perhaps your fans might expect.
I think those characters are really very real and strong. And it's great that you can get into other people's heart. And I do a lot of research as well. Just want to really play this very vivid image, let people see a real drug addict could be really scary. And during the interview, I realized a lot of people, they do drugs because they don't know. It can have such a serious result, and it's really, you couldn't quit.
Well, one of the roles that I imagine you had more fun with was when you were in Rush Hour 3 with Jackie Chan. And he has actually contributed a video phone message for you for this program.
She always liked to challenge. She can play lovely ladies and martial arts, kung fu actress, drug dealer. Not like Jackie Chan, martial art, martial art, martial art, martial art. She's a martial art, singing, dancing, all kind of things.
烟里面是不是有东西啊？
没有啊，我怎么会呢？
你以后不要来找我了。
我真的没有啊，你相信我啊，我不会害。
你干什么？
In just very short time, few years, boom, she just success. And she really, really worked hard. She's a beautiful girl. Jingchu, yes, I love her. I love you too, Jingchu.
What a lovely compliment from Jackie Chan. What was it like working with him?
In China, we all call him 大哥. It means elder brother, right? So he was like an elder brother to me. And that was my first time shooting abroad for such a long time. It was 5 months in LA. And then he would always invite me to his trailer to have lunch. And he had a great cook. So, yeah, it was a great comfort.
But he paid you the great compliment in not only noting the range of roles that you've done in your career, but also how hard you work. Is it as hard work today as when you began? I mean, do you really have to apply yourself to every role? Or is it getting easier the more experience you have?
I think in acting, you always can try to improve more. And then there's so many approaches that you can try to find the infinite possibilities of the character. And That's why I took half a year off to go to New York and to study in T. Schreiber's studio. And then I just tried to find like different approaches and do a lot of like improvisations. And yeah, I try to maybe bring my acting to level with more surprises. Sometimes can surprise myself a little bit more.
We'll talk more about some of the roles that you've done since in just a moment. But first we take a break on Mishal Hussain Meets, and we're back in a moment. Mishal Hussain Meets with my guest today, award-winning Chinese actress Zhangjingchu. Jingchu, take me back then to when you were growing up. You were a naughty child. You used to run away from school, is that right?
Well, yeah, I never really liked schooling that much. Especially my mother is a teacher, and then I'm always just under her control. So I left home very early, like 13, and to the boarding school. That's to study art. And I remember, because I went to school like at very early age, and at least 2 years younger than the average.
Well, why were you 2 years young when you went to school?
Because my mother just wanted me to have an early education, and it's just maybe save some trouble. Just put me at a school and then there's a teacher to supervise me. I don't know.
So you were actually, and that meant you were young all the way through your education?
Yes.
So were you even younger than your peers when you got to boarding school?
Yes. Usually all my classmates were at least 15 when I was only 13. But I remember the first night at the boarding school, like all the roommates were crying in their bunk beds because they're just homesick. And I was just laughing. That's so great. Finally, I just get out of the control of my parents.
So you weren't homesick at all, quite the opposite.
Yeah, I think freedom is always just my priority until now.
And did that desire for freedom continue through the rest of your education? You went to art school and then you ended up studying directing. Why directing?
I don't know, maybe inside of me, I'm very, like, if I got a notion and I just want to do it immediately. But just very soon I realized my techniques were not really good enough to get into the art academy. So while I was figuring things out, I went to the film academy and then had some great lessons. We analyzed a lot of great movies and
Western
watched,
movies?
like Forrest Gump, and a lot of Fellinis, and Shawshank Redemption, Last Tango in Paris. There's a lot of great movies, and I never realized such good movies existed.
Because you had never seen them
No.
when you were younger. But you
No.
were pretty sure at that stage that you didn't want to actually be in front of the camera. Is that right?
No. I think maybe the turning point was the time I went to this drama academy, even though you're studying directing, but you have to do a lot of acting as well, because you have to act in your classmates' works. And I remember when I first went to the academy, I was considered to be a very bad actor. Because the first acting class we had to do a lot of exercises. Maybe a lot of you also done that. It's really embarrassing exercises.
In front of all your classmates? And
It's
your
like
teachers?
they just will make you lie on the floor and just meditate that you are a seed. And then it starts to rain and you have to grow. And then you have to just grow from the ground, and then you have leaves and full of blossoms and you have fruits, and you really have to grow, like physically, not just in your mind.
And did you think it was a waste of time, or just you couldn't see the point?
By the time I couldn't. It's like, I didn't have any clue how to do it, and I just saw all my classmates were just growing around me. I just, wow, it's really, I don't know, I was so embarrassed. And later we have this animal section, which is more common. Like you have to imagine you are a bear or a snake, and then you have to make the movements and noises. It's like, oh my God.
It just wasn't you.
I couldn't convince myself to do it either. So it was like a nightmare to me. And I cried really hard after the class. I was just totally discouraged. But that led to a very serious result, because the following 2 years, just my classmates rarely asked me to perform in their work. So my acting score was rather poor. It's very poor.
But I guess it didn't matter, because it wasn't what you wanted to do anyway. But what was the moment that actually made you properly try acting and then prove yourself?
That was the time when this graduation play came along. And it was a Japanese play, and the character was really great. So all the girls in my class wanted to play the character. The teacher had to make a decision, like to hold a competition. So whoever got the highest number of votes will play the character. So I said, I want to try. And then I asked one of my classmates to direct a very small but touching scene. And it went really well, and some of the audience in my class cried. So I got the highest number of votes.
Wow, it sounds like one of today's TV shows where the audience gets to vote. Was it the competition element that got you hooked, or was it the actual role and the character? Because clearly it wasn't acting that made your heart miss a beat up to that point.
It was because that's a great character. It's a very sad and beautiful story. It was a Japanese play, a beautiful story based on a fairy tale. For that character, you have to learn a lot of like singing and dancing. And it's a very sad character. You have to do a lot of monologues. And I still remember the first time when the stage lights are on me, and then I, not like now, I couldn't really see the audience. And it's like enter a magic world, and then you can hear the audience, they are breathing and laughing and weeping, and you just feel their existence. And I don't know, I just wish that moment could go on forever.
Do you think there was a value in how hard your parents pushed you as a child in preparing you for this life? I mean, they were obviously quite tough with you.
Yeah.
Do you wish they hadn't been, or do you value what they put into it?
I don't know, but if I ever have children, maybe I will not use the same way, because sometimes when I have to face a new challenge, I have to really conquer a lot of fears and those lack of confidence feeling inside me. But yeah, I do think maybe it's because of their way that I I work so hard because I've never think I'm good enough.
Did they never compliment you?
Rarely. Until now, still, I don't know, they're just too shy to say it, maybe. They rarely, like, make compliments.
But do you think if they hadn't pushed you, then you might not have ended up where you are today?
Yes, because I'm never, like, overly proud, and I always can see there's shortcomings, or there's something I'm still needs to improve.
Tell me about your own favourite roles, because for some of your roles, you had to work really hard in picking up new skills, learning musical instruments, learning to play ping pong.
That was my first movie, Peacock, because that was a really tough competition. And after a few rounds of auditions, they kept me and other 2 girls for training before they made a final decision. So we had to learn a lot of things. Like in the morning, I would go to the accordion teacher, and at noon, I would go to the dialect coach. And in the afternoon, I will go to the ping pong training. So,
did you enjoy learning new skills, though? Did you enjoy that challenge, or did you regard it as a hurdle that you had to overcome?
It was a mixed feeling. On the one hand, because I love ping pong and I love to, be able to play another instrument, but at the same time, it's also very stressful because you don't know if you are the final one to be picked or not. And I think that training went on for 2 months, from dawn till dusk, without pay. And then I would wake up in the middle of the night, like sweating and thinking, what if I couldn't get the part? It's a very strong character, idealist. I just totally in love with that character.
Do you consider yourself a star?
I more consider myself as an artist, but also you need to be a star, because if you are considered to be a star, and then you might have box office, and then will have like better projects were looking for you. So you just need to find a balance.
Well, let's see what questions our audience have for you. Lots of your fans are here to see the recording of the show. Let's go straight to you.
Hi, Jinchu. I'm Callista. I would like to ask you, what keeps you going or motivates you every day from each step of the way, from you going to boarding schools and till where you are today?
I want to be independent. I want my freedom. And then if you want that, maybe you really need to be strong, and like you have to be financially independent, and then you have to have an independent spirit as well. Also, you need to have like the dignity is also very important.
Do you see yourself as an ambassador for China, like some kind of cultural ambassador?
I hope so. The things I enjoy the most is when I do like different productions from different countries, and then you can see how people see the same things differently, like how to express your feeling of love, or what's considered to be funny, like comedies. And it's great if you can exchange this kind of different ideas with them.
I think we have another question actually about differences in culture. Let's go to the lady there.
Hi, I'm Natasha, and I just wanted to remark that actually I'm very impressed with your English.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to know what were the main differences working in the US and in China, and how was your experience working in the United States?
When I work in Rush Hour 3, I should say the most impressive thing for me was the art direction, especially the ending scene. I was tied up on the very top of the Eiffel Tower outside of the restaurant. But we did really shoot in Paris for 10 days, and then we had to do the action sequence back in the soundstage in LA. So when I went into the set, I was totally amazed because it was so real. And then you can see they recreated the 360 view of Paris at night. And then you can see the streams of light flickering as the car drove down the street. And then I was staring at the Arc the Triumph, and I just got this urge. I want to just go down the tower and take a walk over there.
So was that real?
Yeah, it's really real. And I just standing there and I just staring at that. Okay, I want to just take a walk over there. It was great.
So the standards were very high. What about action sequences and your roles in action movies? Do you enjoy all of that, really physical roles?
I do, because I was a super kung fu fan. When I was little, like, I love kung fu movies and novels, and I was fascinated by how a kung fu master could fly and just alight on leaves and just run across the surface of the water. So I read this book when I was 7 or 8 years old, that described how a kung fu master was trained, to learn how to fly. They would dig a deep hole, and then they would tie these heavy sandbags to their legs, and then they just keep jumping. Until one day they could jump out of the hole. That means without sandbags, they could fly. So I was obsessed with these ideas. Every Saturday when my mom was out for the weekly meeting, and I would just fill those my old school bags with books, and then tie them to my legs and keep jumping, until that kept up for 2 months, until the neighbors complained to my mom, and my kung fu dream was cut short. Yeah.
That's almost like an acting class of your own, and developing your whole new way of training.
Yes.
Let's go to a question right here.
Hi, my name is Lucy. I'm also from China. I lived in Beijing before, and I just want to ask you, after watching all of your movies, I just want to know, which role is actually closest to you yourself?
I think maybe every character has a part of me. And sometimes maybe it's just hidden inside me. And I really enjoy those, like Peacock. I think her spirit is very close to me, like a dreamer, and just love freedom.
Let's go to a question right here.
Hi, my name is Honey. I'm a media lecturer as well as a short film producer and director. You studied directing and you became an actress. Can I know if in the future, would you like to actually be a director someday? Thank you.
I don't have exact plan yet. I think maybe one day when I have something to say, and I really think acting is not enough to express my feelings or thoughts. Maybe, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Jingchu, I wish you every success with your future work, and I hope you always find the roles that really speak to you. Thank you for joining me on the programme. And thank you for watching. Next time on Michal Hussain Meets, the only female CEO in Formula One, Manisha Kaltenborn. Goodbye.
Find out more on the BBC website, bbc.com/Michal Hussain Meets.